How much money do I need to complete a BRR deal? And what return on investment should I expect from this kind of deal? Now, if you're new here, then firstly, welcome. My name is Justin and I create the best whiteboard property videos on YouTube. It's a very niche and bold claim, but someone has to claim that title. Secondly, what does BRR stand for? Well, it stands for Buy, Refurbish, Refinance, which is a method of purchasing a rundown property, adding value, and then refinancing your money out at the end. And this is beneficial for two main reasons. Number one, you have a freshly refurbished property now ready to rent out, which should be very low in maintenance for the foreseeable future, hopefully the first few years of its life. And number two, it's so that you can recycle your money out and take that money to go on to purchase more properties and grow your portfolio quicker. Now, the two main questions that I get asked is how much capital is required to do one of these deals? And what kind of return on investment can I expect once I've done the deal, refinance my money back out, and I move on to the next one? So in this video, I'm going to walk you through the exact numbers on a BRR purchase, and I'm going to do it on a whiteboard. Let's go. So moving over to the whiteboard, and the emphasis here is to figure out how much money are we going to need for this buy, refurbish, refinance deal. In order to get straight to the point, I've written out a lot of the numbers to save you watching me write them all out. Now, the example that we're going to go with is an £80,000 purchase. Okay, so purchase price, £80,000. We found a property, it's got potential, needs a refurb, we secured it at a good price, and that is £80,000. Now, the other fees off the back of that are going to be the following. Obviously, we've got stamp duty, £2,400. We've got legals at £1,500. A survey, because we've got to get a survey done, £650. Mortgage broker, £500. That might be for the application fee, it might be the broker's fee, but just an allowance there for the mortgage broker as well. Now, there might be other fees that you come up against, but they are the most typical ones that you're going to see during the purchase phase. Now, we also have to bear in mind the fact that we are going to have to refurbish this property, and that is going to come directly out of our pockets. We can't necessarily, or we wouldn't necessarily go out and get lending for the refurb. So that's money coming straight out our pockets. Now, moving over to the bridging loan side of things, when we do a buy, refurbish, refinance deal, we are normally either buying it cash, we're buying it with a bridging loan, and we're very, very rarely doing it with a mortgage. So in this scenario, I factored in a bridging loan. We're going to have 70% loan to value bridge. Normally, we would aim for 75%, but most of them like to do a 70% loan to value bridging loan. Loan to value, meaning that we can get 70% of the purchase price. So 70% of 80,000 is 56,000. But then we have to think about minusing our fees, and a lot of people forget this one here. With bridging, there's quite a few fees. There's a third-party solicitor, there's potentially an application fee, and then you've got all the months of interest that you're going to be paying on this bridging loan. And you can either pay the interest at the end, you can pay and service that debt during, or you can pay it up front. And depending what's most favorable, it's probably going to be the route that we take. In this situation, I've decided to factor in paying it up front. So third-party solicitor, application fee, and potentially 6 months worth of bridging up front. Now, with this cost, the bridging loan or the bridging lender will deduct that from the bridging loan, meaning that the actual amount that our solicitor will get to complete on this property is £51,340, meaning that we're going to have to put in the remainder of the money in order to purchase this property. So then we do 80,000 minus the 51,340 gives us 28,660. That is our deposit required to purchase this property. That's how much capital we're putting in at that point, the deposit. So therefore, in order to calculate our total capital requirement, well, we're not just going to have this, we're going to have other costs as well. So we're going to have the deposit required, we're going to have all of these fees, this one, this one, this one, this one, during the purchase, and the refurbishment. And this totals 57,310, which I worked out before. I'm not just amazing at maths. Now, when we take the 57,310, that is our total capital. That is the amount of money that we are going to need to buy and complete this buy, refurbish, refinance. So that is the amount that we wanted to calculate. So now we've got our answer to that. But now we want to work out how much of that are we going to get back at the end. Okay, if we put in 57,000, how much are we going to get back in our pocket to go and do the next one after this? So in order to calculate that, we need to work out how much money are we putting in, how much money are we going to get out from the refinance. So we know our bridging loan is 51,340. We know our capital is 57,310. So the total of that is £105,050. Okay, so this is a total capital going into this deal, not just from us, but also from the bridging lender. That's the total amount to purchase it with the fees, to do the refurbishment, and then complete the project. Now, in order to work out how much money we're going to get back, we need to work out how much money this is worth and how much money we can get out from the refinance. So let's say this property is worth £125,000. Now we've done the refurbishment, we've added that value, it's now worth £125,000. We're going to get back, with a 75% loan to value mortgage, £93,750. So quite a handsome sum that we're able to pull out of that property. But that doesn't just go into our bank account, sad to say. We have to pay off the previous debt. Okay, we have to pay off the bridging lender, and we have to pay off ourselves because we've put off a lot of money into this property. We put £57,310 in. So in order to pay back the bridger, pay back ourselves, the total of that is £105,050. Therefore, meaning that if we take our £93,750, we deduct the total capital that has gone in, that means that all said and done, there's about £11,300 left in. So we bought a property, done the full refurbishment, we've now done the refinance, and we have a house effectively for £11,300. Total capital in, total to do the full deal, total money left in after the refinance. Now let's take a look at the ROI. So now we've worked out the money in, we've worked out the money out. Now it's time to work out the return on investment, because this will really tell the story. Is this property worth us buying or not? So this property rents for £725 per month. I have already pre-populated the figures for you. So the monthly mortgage cost is £442.58. You might think, wow, why is that so bloody expensive? Well, because I've used a 5.5% interest rate, which at the time of recording this video is roughly the going rate for a 2-year fixed product that's available, interest only, of course. Now that isn't just the debt, that is also the arrangement fee. So when you get a mortgage, obviously there's an arrangement fee for arranging the debt, and then they'll work out your monthly payment based upon your debt plus your arrangement fee. Okay, so that's 5.5% plus the arrangement fee, and that gives us a monthly amount of 44258. Managing agent, £87 a month. Again, seems quite high, but again, parts of the north where you're renting properties out, they've got a lot of demand right now. Actually, they charge 10% plus VAT, which is quite high in comparison to where I live further down south, where you might get away with 8% plus VAT, but the rents are much higher, which means the companies earn more from doing the same amount. Insurance, £30 per month, which is about the going rate for buy-to-let insurance, giving us a total profit, a total wonderful profit of £165.42 before tax as well. I know you love to kill me on the tax if I don't mention it. So that is pre-tax, obviously tax being 19% corporation tax if we buy through a limited company. We pay that on our profits. But to be quite frank, this looks a little bit miserable to me. Now, before I talk about the profit, because I know it sucks, let's talk about the return on investment, because now we know the property makes £165.42 per month. If we times that by 12, that will give us our annual profit, and that is £1,985.04. And if we now divide that by the amount of money we left in, which we know is £11,300, that gives us a ROI percentage of 17.6, because this is going to make almost £2,000 a year in comparison to the £11,300 we left in. So 17.6% return on investment. But going back to the cash flow, to be quite honest, it really does suck. If one bill comes up, now you've lost and wiped out all of your profit for 1, maybe 2 months. Not only that, but now you've got to pay for your mortgage, you've got to pay for your insurance and your accountant and so on. So if the profit is too low, then you should really consider flipping. Whereas if it was high, well, it's a potential BRR that we should refinance and keep. Because personally, if a BRR property does not do 180, 190, 200 plus in profit margin per month after the refinance, then I probably won't keep it. If it does, then I will keep it. But poor profit margin is the price that we do have to pay in order to release capital. And that is always going to be the risk with buy, refurbish, refinance as a strategy, particularly when interest rates are higher. The risk we take is a low profit margin in order to release that capital and go on and buy future properties. And if you don't like that risk, or if you think there is too much risk, then I highly encourage you to think about flipping it and selling it for a profit instead. Now we've answered those two questions, the amount of capital required, the return on investment from this property. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.